what would it profit? Ooh, profit a man to gain this world, lose his soul. No, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Yeah.
The fire is lit, here come the smoke. Bishop brother is on, here come the hope. On the real, oh yeah, this on the real. With Bishop brother, no they never quick to judge it. Plenty covered, yeah they talk about issues from their view. And they welcome all, they're not defined by their hue. Oh no, they're just speaking of their truth. Be sure to like and subscribe and tune in, you see the fire in their eyes.
Alright, well, welcome back to another edition of Bishop Brothers and Bishop John. I'm joined, of course, with my brother in arms, both figuratively and literally, Bishop Aaron Williams. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to come listen to us and hang out with us for a little while we talk about Thanksgiving. This is one we've always done. Now, I can't take credit for this one. This is a Bishop Aaron special. But like the first time we did it, I was like, Thanksgiving, what is that? But I'll tell you, it's been kind of cathartic for me. It's nice for me. Like every year we come in and we just, we just kind of talk about it, talk about life, and especially this year.
I can't take credit for it neither because I explained there in my service how I don't know if I explained how it came about. You know,
y'all about to get a story.
This is my third year teaching at my high school, and I was running around the classroom. You know how kids be how excited. Everybody running around. Hey, where you going for Thanksgiving? Where you going for Thanksgiving? Where you going for Thanksgiving? Everybody was like, oh, I'm doing this, staying home. Ready for the turkeys and pies and all the good stuff. Everybody's getting hungry. Then I walked up to the one kid. I said, hey, what you doing for Thanksgiving? Me and my naive self. And he was Native American. And he said,
wow.
He said, Chief, you know, we don't do Thanksgiving. I said, why? Because I didn't know at that point. You know, again, my own thing. He's probably Hispanic, assuming without. Because you know, my people don't do Thanksgiving because obviously the history of what happened. Right. And it was like I could have fought Charles on that kid because he, and literally, not figuratively, not just metaphorically, I should say, punched me right here, bitch, right in the gut, and just knocked the wind out of my son. I said, you know what? You know, and I told him, I said, you know what? I appreciate your heritage. I honor that, and I mean no disrespect to you. And hey, I appreciate that because thank you for being honest because it's really can't be about, as we always talk about, context. He really showed my context is that I got to make sure it's about being thankful according to what I believe, and not a system because some people got hurt from that system, and I got to acknowledge that and can't dismiss that because my culture or way of life didn't acknowledge that. For whatever reason, and so that's why I gotta. What can I say besides Thanksgiving? And I believe you should celebrate. You honor, you celebrate, do what you do. That's fine. I'm not saying that. But don't ever disregard somebody else's feeling about what you feel good about. And it's like Thanksgiving. That's where I got it from. A kid really taught me that hey, you know what? Sometimes, what is it really about? Is it about living? Or is it about this moment? So that's when I came to Thanksgiving.
That's better than what I thought it was going to be. Okay. The idea of Thanksgiving to me, I think it's important to understand how it differs from just saying Thanksgiving. And I think in the time that we've had together, probably what stands out the most to me is, this is especially for non-indigenous people, this is a holiday we've all had our whole lives. I mean, this is a holiday I've had since I was a little kid. It doesn't change the memories of family being around a table. I will tell you, though, the education that I've received over time has taught me to appreciate the fact that, one, not everybody celebrates like me, and two, not everything that I celebrate is a celebration to everyone else. And so I think it's important to acknowledge, and I think that's why I enjoy the idea of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving has baggage attached to it.
That's it.
It's got some baggage attached to it.
Whether you agree or not, it does.
It does.
It's a matter of historical record. It ain't nothing.
Right.
It's not a fairy tale.
Yeah, this isn't an opinion piece. This is a fact. These are facts that happen.
Right.
So I know some of y'all ain't into facts, clearly, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, this is a fact, right?
Yeah.
So, and I can tell you, as someone with Irish heritage, we share a common thread with our Indigenous friends, because we, very much like Indigenous people right now, there is a huge chunk of Ireland that does not belong to the Irish. So, and it was called a plantation back in the 1600s. Literally what they did is they brought people from Scotland and England and planted them in Ulster or Northern Ireland, and basically made it a colony, and took it from the native Irish and the native Irish speakers. So while I enjoy turkey as much as the next. Of course. I enjoy potato salad without raisins, so I don't do raisins. But I do acknowledge, though, that on the other side of that celebration, I acknowledge the history of that celebration. I acknowledge the reality that as I eat my turkey, I'm probably eating it on some stolen land that didn't originally belong to people that look like me. So I think that's important. That the friends that I have that are Indigenous have told me, like, I don't care if you eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I don't care if you gather with your family on Thanksgiving. All I'm asking is that you just acknowledge the reality of what happened. And I think that's fine. That's it. What's wrong with acknowledging facts? Well, in this country, there's a lot wrong with acknowledging a lot of facts. But for me, that's kind of where Thanksgiving has gone. And it's gone beyond the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the potato salad. And it's gone into, I'm thankful that I have a family to gather. Some people don't. I'm thankful that I have a house in which my family comes to gather. A lot of people don't. I'm thankful that I have, it's more on the thanks and less on the giving, if that makes sense.
Well, what I like about the term is, when I say happy Thanksgiving, that keeps me on safe ground. Because I'm simply saying happy I'm living.
Yeah. I'm
not putting any day on it. I can say it to you. I can say it to the native. I can say it to anybody. I'm thankful for living. I'm thankful for living. And so that keeps me on safe ground where I'm not saying, I believe Thanksgiving should be a day of thanks on steroids, simply a day of thanks on steroids. It's just, we just knowledge. But my belief system is I'm supposed to be thankful every day.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thankful for living and living to do it, living to help my brother, living to help my sisters, living to help my kids when I was teaching, living to help my fellow sailor or Marine or serviceman when I was in the military, living to further something. So it keeps you on safe ground with anybody. Cause I was in the store today and I say, they said, happy Thanksgiving, right? I was just going on shopping to my wife some money there, and that's what I'm good for these
days. Right, yeah, you're right.
And so I go inside, and they said, and I said, and they said, I said, thank you, happy Thanksgiving. And lady started saying, what did you say? I said, happy Thanksgiving. She got a big smile on her face, said, I like that, I'm going to use that. I said, that's good. And she went and told her kids, said, did you hear what that man said? And I just walked away because to my point, it keeps you on safe ground. It keeps you on safe territory, I believe, because I'm not, trying to. I'm the word about is does everybody celebrates this? You got to be careful when you say Merry Christmas, because everybody don't celebrate Christmas, believe it or not. And so, and like you said eloquently, it just keeps you on. I believe, just keeps you on safe ground, and also reminds you that, hey, it's bigger than Thursday this week. Right. It's about a constant process of being thankful. Right.
Yeah, and I think for me, it fits well in Celtic Christianity. We have a belief in what's called rhythms, right? Rhythms of prayer, rhythms of life, rhythms of thankfulness. And while there are these bigger touch points in our faith practices like Advent and Christmas and Lent and Easter and those kinds of holidays that kind of emphasize certain aspects of it, the idea of that whole calendar year is that we're never not focused on the things Jesus wanted us focused on. We're never not focused on being thankful, humble, willing to serve, willing to help others. Now there's like these pinnacle moments, and for me, Thanksgiving is one of them, but it's certainly not the only one. And I think what's definitely helped me in my rhythms of life and prayer is making Thanksgiving a pinnacle moment in that, but it's not the only moment. You know, it might be a mountain peak if you're looking out over a horizon, but there's valleys, there's other hills, there's other mountains, there's other times when you're going to bring this part of it to your life. So for me, Thanksgiving is the time of year where my rhythms of prayer, my focus in meditation turns to being thankful and grateful. You know, and as you know, Celtic Advent started 2 weeks ago. Advent is that time of preparing for the light of the world to come into the world, but also recognizing that light was already here, which is a whole, you know, mystic thing. You can go to my podcast if you ever want to geek out on that. But I think Thanksgiving for me is just a part of that rhythm, but it's not the only part of that rhythm. And I think that's what keeps it healthy and good in what could otherwise be a very divisive, very shattered history and baggage that comes with that, with this time frame.
And on another note, so I was at the time of this tape when you're watching this, it's like 3 weeks after the election.
Yeah.
And so, I'm still not. And this is the thing that I'm still not over, and I can tell you that I'll never be over it. So I went to. I talked to my therapist about it, and he said something that really I ended up role reversal here, and I was talking to him about it, and he was telling me, he said what you're doing is you're mourning your delusion. And I don't care what it is, and I'll explain it more. But I'm gonna say on the Thanksgiving part, not to correlate too many different things.
Right.
So I'm talking to him. He goes, hey, he knows I'm a preacher, so I need you to pray for me. I said, okay, what's going on? He said, I can't go to my family this year for Thanksgiving. I said, why? He said, because he put in these terms, so I'm not going to say what it was because it's how he said it. He said, I have a lifestyle. That's different.
Okay.
Right? So you can correlate.
Yeah, I got
you can correlate how you want to. I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is different.
It distinctly. And he is from Georgia, well, outside of Georgia.
Okay.
And if you ever looked at the maps in red country,
yeah, you are deep red.
No, not light red.
Not light red.
Deep red. And so, obviously,
That's not okay. Yeah.
And so he was talking, and his family was telling him, and he said he can't go this year because he don't want to go home and fight because, and that's really things that really just burdened me because I'm like. This man can't go to his family because of election, and we're sitting there talking about Thanksgiving, but he's not comfortable going home because he don't want to get in an altercation with people rubbing things in his nose that really shouldn't have anything to do with Thanksgiving, because that should be family time. All that stuff should be separate off the table, irrelevant. This is our family. This is life. This is food and loving one another. And so he said he couldn't go home, and I said to pray for him. I'm like, after that, I'm like, it's a lot of people. Like this is a different Thanksgiving that this country's seen in a long time because I've heard, when I went home, I thought about that day. I'm like, I started looking around on the social media. It's a lot of situations where people have council gatherings, people have council getting together because of their situation, and I just find that's so terrible. Because no matter which way it would have went,
right?
No matter which way it would went, why should that separate? But when it's all about what it was, what else? When I think about it, what else could happen? But I just felt so bad for him. He said that. I'm like, man,
that's tough, and sadly, that is not uncommon right now.
No, not this. Yeah.
I will tell you, without getting into a whole bunch of details, I have people that I mentor, people that are in the ordination cycle. One I can think of one in particular. There there were already issues, and I think this is true of probably most of these situations, right? There was already a tenuous piece in the house. There was already a fragile piece over the last 5 to 10 years in a lot of these households. And particularly in this particular instance, after this election, a certain side of her family had gotten so arrogant with the win and saying a lot of visceral things online. This person had come to me and said, you know, I don't agree with anything they're saying, right? But beyond agreeing with them, I feel like if I am silent, I'm being complicit. Like I'm agreeing because I'm not saying anything. And a lot of these people, definitely what this election did is it gave a lot of people the courage. It was the last straw for them. It was like, you know what? I'm not going to be quiet at the Thanksgiving Day table anymore. I'm not going to be quiet at the dinner table. Pop says something racist. I'm not going to just do, well, you know, that's how Pop was raised, and we're all just going to look down at our food while he says weird stuff. In a lot of households, this election has brought that to an end, right? So she'd asked my opinion, should I go home for Thanksgiving? And I told her, I said, well, you know, you've been on this Celtic path with me for over a year now. You know I'm not going to give you an answer. The job here, the purpose of this is not to provide you answers, right? It's to provide you a pathway where you make your own decisions, right? You don't need someone to tell you what to do. Now I can give you advice, right? If you choose to go, this is some things I would consider. If you choose not to go, these are some things I would consider. I would tell you this, though. I would say this to people. You need to do what is best for your mental health. If you think you are not going to be able to handle being in that situation, like any situation, I'm just talking about Thanksgiving dinner. If you're ever in a situation where you don't think you're going to be able to handle it, it's going to be detrimental to your mental health, or you're just not in the mood to fight, it's okay to not be in the mood to fight. It's okay to make the choice to stay home. If you want to go, knowing that, you know, Pop's going to say something, and you're going to say something, that's fine too. Just understand there are positive and negative consequences to every choice we make. But I definitely sympathize with your friend. He's not alone right now. This is widespread. What's going on right now?
And what I tell people is this here: you have to use what they say. Use self-care first. Yeah. That's my advice. That's my advice. Now you got to take your self-care where you got to take your self-care. If your self-care, because here's what's going to happen. Because I studied this, and I believe this. These people are part of cult of personality. And when you study Jim Jones and people, David Koresh's, people like that, the members, the people part of the cultish people, they want to bring you in. You walk into a situation, they're not going to, as my grandmother would say, mind their manners. Nope. It's going to come. So if you can't handle that, if your self-care can't handle that, to me, that's not on you. You're protecting yourself for what, a lot of times, most of the time, we don't know what's around that corner. You know, me and you plan to go home after we leave the studio today, but we might not make it because we don't know what's around the corner. We believe in God, we're going to make it back home to our wives, our family, but we don't know. But when you do know, in these instances, when you do know what's right in the corner, if you choose to go in it, if you with this situation, if you can't prepare for it, because it's coming, they're not going to be silent. They're not going to. It's going to come. So as I said, self-care has to be preeminent here, because they're going to do what they're going to do, and you got to be able to practice. You know what? This year, maybe some time passed that I can't, because. And I hate to. It's not. And don't think because you can't handle it. It's visceral. Right now, it's still raw. People are still deeply involved in it. This three, and so it was a very divisive situation. It was a very grievous, anger-filled situation.
Yeah.
And what we finding out now is it wasn't. It was close. It wasn't a mandate. You don't got no Ronald Reagan mandate. It was very close.
Yeah.
The latest number is 1.7%. That's a close election. So that divide causes more problems. And then when you see what's happening after the facts of it, number one thing is Thanksgiving and protect your living. Because after this holiday, this is what I told them. When you go home, you gotta still live with yourself.
You still gotta live here,
and don't live with you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I tell people in this moment, self-care. Why go to a situation where it's gonna be a knockdown, drag out, whatever it's gonna be,
right?
And because you can deal with it last year, this ain't last year,
right?
This is different,
right?
And so. You said the word protect yourself, and if that causes you to miss the tradition that you've been going through the last 15 years, hey, you got to decide whether your piece is worth it. I know mine is.
Yeah, mine is definitely worth it.
Yeah,
Now I'm very fortunate in the situation I'm in. Right, me and my wife are in one accord. We don't have that kind of division in my house. Mm-hmm. Although me and my in-laws don't agree on everything politically. Mm-hmm. There's still room for discussion, and there's room for not having those discussions. Mm-hmm. They have no issue not discussing that stuff at the dinner table. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that. But I also understand that there's some people out here that are deeply, deeply hurt, and every right to be deeply, deeply hurt. I mean, I don't feel great about it. I'm getting better. I think that time is helping, right? But the reality is, if you're not, it's okay to not be okay. Mm-hmm. And it is okay to forego the turkey if that's what's best for you. If what's best for you is to not be around Pop, then maybe that's best for you, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. You don't owe anybody anything. You owe you. You owe it to yourself to be healthy, whatever that looks like. Food, exercise, mental health, whatever that is for you, you owe you. You don't owe anybody else. I know what I'm going to hear. Well, Scripture says honor your mother and father. 100% it does. Mm-hmm. Honor doesn't mean complicity. Mm-hmm. Honor doesn't mean agreeing with everything that person thinks or says or does. Mm-hmm. Honoring means that's my father. That is a place of honor. Mm-hmm. I respect and honor him as my father. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean I have to respect and honor his politics, respect and honor his positions on things. We don't live in that kind of, right now we don't live in that kind of country. So you owe you. I think that's the most important thing I would say about Thanksgiving. It's okay to be thankful that you have the choice to just be at home and rest your mind. That's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's back to full circle. It says about Thanksgiving, honor that everybody don't celebrate or you predominantly not thankful. Mm-hmm. The key is thankful for Thanksgiving, and I just think that we need to focus on, particularly in this time we live in. Mm-hmm. Try to find there's enough hatred, anger, rage, grievance out there. Try to find yourself in a source, in a place where you particularly now take this moment to try to take this and say, you know what, many people got a break from work and stuff like that. Don't take a break from work and go get yourself some medicine, because guess what? Next week, work's gonna be waiting on you. Yeah, it will. Again, like Bishop, the following analysis, my advice is self-care. And how you define that self-care, can't nobody got the right to say whatever. That's your self-care. Yeah, there's only one right way to care for yourself, and that's the way you care for yourself. Right. It's like there's only one right way to serve Jesus, and that's the way you've been called to serve Jesus. Right. My calling and your calling are different, and they look different, and that's okay. There's a reason for that. So yeah, I would agree with you. Now, what am I thankful for this year? It's been a rough. This year's been a little rough. Mm-hmm. It's been a little rough.
But, you know, I'm thankful for friends and family and friends that are family. I'm thankful for the many undeserved blessings that I get all the time from the Lord. And, you know, I'm thankful I'm not where I was. You know, I may not be where I should be, but thank God I'm not where I was. So, you know, I work on it every day, and I'm just really thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm thankful for, you know, so much. You know, it's hard to even contain it. You know, life. I'm thankful to be talking and breathing right now in my right mind. Not on chemotherapy, not in some mental institution. You know, on my mind. I'm thankful for my wife and my family, my kids. I'm thankful to be sitting here next to you. I'm thankful for the people that have in my life, and I'm thankful for my peace. I'm thankful for the fact that, you know, in the midst of the storms, that there's always people that, I'm glad I don't have a lot of people in my life. I'm glad I got a few, because I've learned how to protect my peace, and I'm thankful that there's always a remnant of hope in this world of trouble, in this troubled time we live in. And I can tell you, I'm thankful to be alive right now. I will tell you this, I used to read about stories like times like these, and I never wanted to live in times like these. You know, other people say, well, people used to say, well, you know, what's it like in the Civil War? I'm glad I never knew, you know, what's it like to be doing in the Great Depression. I'm glad my dad was born in the Great Depression. I'm glad I never knew. He said, he's always said, I'm sure glad I was a baby during the Great Depression. Yeah. I used to laugh at him, but in times like these, this brings thanks to another level, because be that light of virtue. Be that light. William Seward said, man, he said, you know, there's always, in this republic in which we live, in this world, there's always been lights to meet the emergency. Yep. And there's always lights. And so I thank God that, you know, through this, I thank God for this podcast going right now. If it touches, we'd always say from the beginning, if it reaches one person that might be struggling right now, being thankful, we would tell you, you know what, we're thankful for you. Yeah. Don't let nobody put you down, no matter whether you was. I ain't talking about whatever you're going through in life, struggle you're going through in life. You are somebody, and you're worthy to be here. You're worthy to have life. You're worthy to have your own peace, and we're thankful. And we don't know you, but we're still thankful for your life. So it's so much to always be thankful for. Don't ever let the storm cause you not to be thankful. Yeah. Because in the storm, that's when you truly find things. And so I just thank God for the people that have in my life, and the ability to have an outlet like this where I can express myself, and people can hear us and maybe, you know, get some hope when they finish less hopeful. But yeah, it's just good to be thankful.
Yeah, and as always, we're thankful for, if you're listening to this, you're hearing this, seeing this, watching this, we're thankful you've taken the time. You know, time is the one thing you can't get back. No. I can give you all my money and I can go make more of it, but I can never get back my time once I surrender it. So I'm thankful that you know, you've surrendered 30 minutes a week to hang out with us. I'm very thankful for that. Tell us in the comments what you're thankful for. Yeah. Tell us what Thanksgiving means to you. Yeah. Don't share potato salads though. Potato salad recipes though, because some of y'all, I hate to say it, but some of y'all that are a little more complected like me, y'all put some weird stuff in your potato salad. I don't know. Yeah. I've seen it. Don't act like it doesn't happen. I've seen it with my own two eyes. And like many things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Right. Raisins do not belong in potato salad. Hot sauce? Yes. Not raisins. Anyway, as always, we're thankful for the time. Yeah. Give us that like, that follow. Tell a friend about the show. And let us know what Thanksgiving means to you in the comments.
On the real, oh yeah, this on the real. On the real, oh yeah, this on the real. You know the deal,